Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to presentation number 3 on the top term sales ideas we've seen this year with our wonderful presenter, Morgan Holbein, joining us from Assurity Life out of Lincoln, Nebraska. We'll actually just jump right in here, but as always, if you have any questions, please put them into the chat box on the right-hand side of your screen. We'll make sure they all get answered at the end of the presentation. Afterwards, feel free to give us a call to receive a copy of the webinar and answer any additional questions you might have. So thanks for joining us, and I'll hand it off to Morgan.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, Sean. All right, and welcome and good morning. This is our third term sales strategy webinar that we're hosting. So we've gone over term for mortgage protection, and then last week we went over marketing for millennials. So this week we're going to be focusing on a very interesting market and one that we focused on during this year's LIAM, Life Insurance Awareness Month, and that is women. There is a huge need for life insurance here, so it's a really awesome market to focus on, and there's a lot of information and a lot of stats that go into it. So this should be a pretty good one here. Just to start out, though, kind of how we've done the last few, just to make sure that you're familiar with our product and have all of the highlights. We'll kind of go through those. I'll go through our agenda here in a second. But like Sean said, my name is Morgan Holbein. I'm Regional Sales Coordinator for the Art Jetter Group. So I help out in the home office, which we are located in Lincoln, Nebraska. So today's agenda, like I said, we're going to go over the term life highlights. So just some real quick product stuff just to make sure you have all of that down. Then we're going to go over the main sales idea here, which is marketing to women and the need for life insurance for women. And we'll go over a sales idea there, and then we'll go over those riders again for extra protection because there are quite a few that you can add, and they're really awesome and a really good way to package things and make sure they're covered on all their bases. So those product highlights. Term periods are listed there. We have 10, 15, 20, and 30. It is a convertible product, which you can convert to any of our permanent life products. So our current assumption, universal life, par whole life, single premium whole life. So keep that in mind. Face amounts range from $25,000 all the way up to $10 million. So we've got a big range there. The accelerated underwriting kicks in for those amounts that you see there, $500,000 and under for 18 to 50. 350 under for ages 51 to 65. You'll see the underwriting classes there, and it is annually renewable to age 95. So that's just to make sure you got the product knowledge down. Now we're going to just jump right in here. So like I said, there are a lot of stats, a lot of really cool stats that go along with women and the need for life insurance. So only 1 in 3 women own individual life insurance. So there's a big opportunity there. And 44% of women don't have any life insurance at all. And when you think about it, so it says only 1 in 3 own individual life insurance. That means a lot of them may already have some through work or they don't even know. So it's more than likely not enough life insurance and they just don't know it. They just know they have life insurance and they think they're good and covered. So it's important to sit down and go through it with them. So there's a huge need there. This I thought was a really good stat too. 42% are primary breadwinners. So that's almost half of the population that make more than their spouse. So their income is very important. So if they were to pass away or something were to happen to them, their family or anyone they leave behind or anything they leave behind will be greatly affected. So that's a great stat there. There are a ton of different needs here for women because there are so many different segments that you can sell to. So right here I have homeowners. So that could be just single homeowners. Single moms, that's a big one as well because they are a single income household. So obviously their children, anyone they have living with them really depend on them and their single income, but they also need something that is affordable and fits into their budget. Stay-at-home moms, that's a big one. We kind of forget, how much they really do, how much they contribute to the household, and they'd really be hurting if something were to happen. And then business owners is another big one, and that's the one we're going to focus on for our sales idea as well. We'll go over some more stats, but there are quite a few women business owners. There are 11.6 million women-owned businesses in the United States, so a huge market here. So what I'm really trying to get to with these stats, though, is just the need for life insurance in the women's market. It is a market that's kind of tough to get into, but there is a huge opportunity there. So as long as you know how to sell to women, how to market to women, that opportunity is really going to hit home for you. So when working with women, you want to make sure you engage in discussion and find a solution. So really find out what their problem is, what their needs are, and come up with a solution that fits those needs. You want to make sure you ask a lot of questions and just really listen. So women in general love to be listened to. So just make sure you ask all of those important questions and then just really listen to what their problems are. And that's how you really build that trust. So you want to make sure that you build that trust with them. They want to make sure that, they're making a smart decision. And so the more they trust you, the more that they're going to want to buy with you. And then lead with education. Really get some stats out there. Make sure you know your stuff. They want to know all the details about what they are purchasing. So keep those things in mind when you're talking with them. Like I said, I have some good stats here for the women business owners. Like I said, 11.6 million women-owned businesses in the United States, 9 million people employed by women-owned businesses. So if they were to pass away, they need something to cover the expenses of that business to keep it going. And there's 1.7 trillion revenue generated from those businesses. So there's a huge opportunity here, a lot of money here that you wouldn't even realize. Some more too, just along with that, 18.2 million are sole homeowners, 5 million are stay-at-home moms. But back to the business owner slide, we'll talk through here. We have two women, Carrie and Sarah. They own a floral shop in North Carolina. After a few years of running that business from their home, they are opening a brick and mortar location. They're both married with kids, so their families rely on their income. They have a $150,000 business loan that they want to pay back, so they want to make sure that in the event of something happening to either of them, that business loan is covered and that business would be able to survive on. So let's get to the next slide here. We're going to look at their concerns here. So we talked about their concerns, the $150,000 business loan, and then wanting to make sure that business can still carry on. They know life insurance is important, so they each purchased $250,000 in 30-year term life insurance. And since they are applying for less than $500,000 and they're within that lower age range, they do qualify for accelerated underwriting. So they didn't have to deal with any of those medical exams and the hassle of that. So should either of them pass away, the payout would cover both the business loan and then allow the remaining partner to buy out that business. So they're really planning it perfectly here. Their agent also recommended that they add on the optional critical illness benefit rider. So if either of them were faced with a critical illness like cancer, heart attack, or stroke, a $100,000 lump sum payment would be used any way they wish, or to just help that business keep going. So here's kind of what the rates look like for this. It kind of breaks it out by the base policy. They're both non-smokers, so they were put in the standard non-tobacco category. And so here's the base policy price, and then the price for the $100,000 critical illness benefit rider. And that critical illness benefit rider, it is a separate pool of money, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So we're looking at $100, less than $100 a month for Carrie and Sarah to have that $250,000 policy plus the critical illness coverage as well. So other sales ideas here, we talked about all the different markets within the women market. So we have single moms we talked about a little bit, and I am a single mom, so this one kind of hits home with me. They do have a lot on their plate. They are relying on a single income. So they have kids or one kid that depends on them, and they're on a tight budget. So budget is a huge factor here. So one that we do have for a sales idea was a 30-year-old recently divorced who has a 3-year-old. So she's juggling raising her daughter and working full time. So she wants the peace of mind that her daughter is going to be taken care of, but she wants it to fit within her tight budget. So she buys that term policy and adds that critical illness rider on as well, so that her daughter is covered in the event of something happening to her, since she does rely so heavily on her income. Young families, so we may have someone like Amanda here who's pictured. She's 27 years old. She is married. So they have student loan debt, and then they have a mortgage, but not much savings. So they want to make sure that in the event of something happening to them, that they are covered and they can pay off their mortgage and also any credit card or student loan debt without taking a huge chunk out of their savings that is already kind of taking a hit after their recent home purchase. And the last one would be more established families. So really they're just wanting to plan for the future. They want to be able to, again, cover their mortgage and then have it be affordable enough to keep on saving, because they are saving for retirement, for children's education funds. It could be business owners. So there are a lot of things that they're looking for coverage for. A couple different things, and we mentioned this in the business owner sales idea, benefit or riders that you can add on. We talked about the critical illness rider. There's also a monthly disability income rider. The first one we're going to talk about, though, is the return of premium benefit. So it does pay back up to 100% of premiums paid. And this is an awesome way to really make the person feel comfortable with their purchase. Adding another monthly expense can be a little stressful, but if you're able to show them that they could receive up to 100% of those premiums that they pay in, it might give them a little bit more peace of mind. And it runs on a percentage schedule. So even if they let the policy lapse, cancel it before the end of that term period, they will receive a percentage back of the premiums they paid in, and that is for the base policy as well as any riders they add on. And so again, that's if they lapse, cancel, or if they get to the end of their term period. It is available only on 20 and 30-year terms. So if you run an illustration, you'll see on page 2 that schedule is there, so you can sit down and show them that. This is really popular, especially in the younger ages. The rates look really good, so we've seen a lot of success here. And again, it's just a great selling point for anyone that's on the fence about adding another monthly expense to their budget. Another one that we've kind of talked about already would be the critical illness benefit rider. And this is a lump sum benefit that's paid out upon diagnosis of a critical illness. And you'll see that chart here on the left, so you'll see everything that's covered. And this is, it works very similarly to our standalone product, but it's kind of nice to group it with the term insurance. Saves the policy fee every year, and it keeps it all on one policy, all in one place. It is a separate pool of money, like I mentioned earlier, so it doesn't take away from the death benefit of that term policy, so keep that in mind. We have a 3-category approach, just like the standalone product, so we'll pay out once in each category. So if they select a $50,000 benefit amount, we will pay out up to 3 times. So if they have a heart attack, come back a few years later, need a major organ transplant, we're going to pay $50,000 that first time, $50,000 that second time, until all 3 categories are filled. So keep that in mind. Another one you can add on would be a monthly disability income rider. This one's awesome if you've looked at disability insurance before, but you're a little nervous because of all the bells and whistles that go along with it, all the benefit periods, elimination periods, occupation classes, all of that. This rider keeps it very simple, but still gives you some good coverage. So you can get up to $3,000 for a monthly benefit. There's just one occupation class, 90-day elimination period, 2-year benefit period. So it keeps it really simple for you. There's not a lot of having to pick and choose there. And you'll see the term periods that it's available for. As far as ages goes, the termination age is 65. So again, it's just a good way to group even more coverage on top of each other, keep it all in one place, save a policy fee, but still be covered on all of those bases. So you're covered with the term life, and then you're covered with the critical illness. So if someone's diagnosed with a critical illness, and then if something were to happen and they become disabled, they're covered with that monthly disability income rider. So it's just about covering all those bases. Women, like we said earlier, 42% are the breadwinners. So they really do, a lot of families really do rely on that women's income, whether it's a single income or if they're in a dual income household. So again, I believe that brings us to the end of our presentation. I'll go back one. If you do have any questions, again, reach out to your friends at ArtJetter, so they have their email and phone number there. So feel free to ask any questions. Let's see, Sean, go ahead and let me know if there's any questions in the chat box that I can answer.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any, so if you guys do have any questions, now's the time to ask them. We've got the expert on the phone. That chat box is on the right-hand side of your screen. Just punch them in there, and we'll make sure they get answered. While we're waiting there, I wanted to mention, too, Morgan, you brought up the return of premium pretty briefly. I just wanted to say how well-priced Assurity's return of premium is, especially at younger ages, like 20 to 30. If you guys haven't looked at ROP term in a while because you think it's too expensive, give me a call, and this will definitely change your mind. It's a great rider they've done. I'm not seeing any questions, so we'll give them another minute. But finally, the final presentation in this series is going to be same time next week, 11 a.m. Central Time on Tuesday. We're going to go back to basics for marketing to baby boomers, so make sure you register and save your spot for that. It's going to be a pretty good presentation. And then again, feel free to give us a call at 800-228-0008 or shoot us an email at life@jetter.com for a copy of this presentation, any sales or marketing materials you need, or to get some quotes. So with that, still no questions. So Morgan, unless you have any other closing comments, we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
I do not. Thanks for having me.
Perfect. All right. Thank you again, everyone. I hope to see you again all next week. Have a great day.